Welcome everybody to our meeting today, April the 10th, and a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on the planet right now. I hope you all went out to see the eclipse. Yes, hundreds of you, I'm guessing. Not treated to it here, sadly. You all know me. I'm Mike Wozniak, member of the NMUG board, and very pleased to be acting as host for this meeting. Sheeta is with us, acting as moderator as usual. Sheeta, was there anything that you'd like to say before I pass the meeting over to Dennis?
No, let's get going with Dennis. He has a
Very
lot to
much.
say.
I don't doubt that. Eckhart, of course, is with us. Eckhart, was there anything that you'd like to add before we move on?
Yes, I would like to because it's Dennis DiGiacomo, who is our presenter today. And I want to extend a very special welcome to him. He's been a member for a long time of our organization, and has become a fixed asset in a way because he's been so continuous in his presentations. I just looked back and I could find that for the past 7 years he gave presentations. So I'm very grateful, and I think we as an organization, we should be very grateful for Dennis that he makes himself available with always amazing presentations. So again, Dennis, welcome, and I'm looking forward to your presentation. And thank you for being so loyal to our organization. Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Thanks, Eckhart. Just a little reminder, everybody, about the NMUG website, and a little reminder that everything that you need, including meeting notes, can be found on the website. Dan is updating it absolutely all the time. So if you need anything at all, it's the first place to go. And a little reminder that starting 2 or 3 weeks ago, we've started to add a specific thread on the message board for each weekly meeting. This was George's idea, and thanks again, George, because it's a really good one and seems to be working. So if you have any questions following today's meeting, just please drop them in there. Thank you very much. Just a couple of announcements before we move on. One announcement, actually, for a change. I heard from Dan, who I see is with us, but he's on holiday. But Dan, brilliantly, somebody has stepped up to the plate and offered to help with the website management in the absence of Dan when he's on holiday and that kind of thing. So no more advertising for that. Our next meeting next Wednesday is with David Abramowitz, when he'll be talking about Find My and AirTags. And that, of course, is same place, same time next Wednesday. And with that, it's my pleasure to pass the meeting over to Dennis, longtime friend of NMUG, as we've just been hearing, Apple authorized affiliate, Apple professional and security expert. And we look forward to hearing what terrifying news you have for us today.
It's
Dennis, let me just stop my share so that you can take over. Thank you very much.
Cool. Find my button.
You're on.
That looks good. Everybody can see me so far?
Yep.
I can see you. Yes, we can see you.
All right, now I can do this. All right. Everybody can see that so far?
Yes.
Yes, Dennis.
Plus. All right. I'm getting better. All right. Well, I'll try not to scare everybody too bad today, but you know, what I like about the NMUG group, and you guys have been here forever, and you guys are awesome. I love the fact that you're worldwide right now, and there's so many different walks of life to join and learn things and contribute. So it's a necessary thing. You know, Windows people wish they have what you guys have, and I'm a part of it. So I'm very privileged to be here. So I do thank you guys for being an organization, allow me to speak. Today I'm going to talk to you about a few things that are a little bit scary, because usually Apple's been pretty safe over the years as far as, you know, not really having any exploits, hacks, malware, and things that usually crush the Windows world. But we're starting to see things that are starting to pop up. And as I go through my slideshow, I'll be explaining them, and that way you guys have an understanding of what we're up against these days and what's ahead of us here in the near future. So the outline is going to come up, and we're going to talk about something that happened recently here in March. about multi-factor authentication. I'll explain the difference between two-factor, multi-factor, and a prominent victim or victims that just something happened recently, and it actually exploits Apple's push notifications. So it's going to be a little bit scary with that, and we'll be talking about remote access software dangers and give you a client case report and show you a trend that's occurring. The criminals or the hackers are really up their game these days, and they're actually getting more abrasive of what they're doing. So it should scare you guys pretty decently today. But I'll answer two questions pretty quickly so we can save some time in the slideshow. Does Apple, Microsoft, Google, do they ever or do they fully safeguard all your digital assets? And the first answer is going to be no. Same can Apple or will Apple, Microsoft, and Google re-grant you access if your account becomes compromised? And that quick, short answer is no. So you should already start to get worried about your data right off the bat before I even get started here. So I want to scare you a little bit. So buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride as we go through it. And then we'll talk about, do you have backups for your digital assets? And then a quick overview from backing up data from the iCloud and some tidbits after that as well. And I'll be open and available for all questions. If you need to ask some questions while I'm talking, I believe, Sheeta, you're going to field those, and then.
Yes, absolutely. Put your questions in the chat, and we will get to them at the appropriate time.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, so this is recent. This is as of, a couple weeks ago. There's a gentleman named Parth Patel. He is a upcoming AI entrepreneur. Him and his co-founders have a pretty cool AI startup, but apparently it's rattling doors of some prominent organizations or other AI companies and or government and or military. I'm not sure, or countrywide, but he's out there. And but recently he got these push notifications right to his phone to reset his password, and they came up more than 59 times in a row. And basically the whole point of these popping up on his phone wasn't just something happened to his phone. It happened to all of his Apple devices. So his watch, his iPad, his computers, and they were getting these. They were nonstop. I mean, they were bombardment nonstop. They counted at one point over 59 in a row, and he kept clicking don't allow. However, they were hoping at some point you screw up and click the allow, and it was going to take him to a next step into getting into the system. So he couldn't understand why all his Apple devices were having an issue. So he's getting a little nervous, but this guy's over paranoid to begin with because of who he is and what he has going for him. So I will tell you up front, he is more educated than most. So he's already aware of some things that he's up against. So he got a little leery about this and just kept hitting don't allow and was getting really irritated with it. Now, what happened was at some point the display stopped coming through, and what ended up happening was the phone rang, and we'll discuss about what happened after the phone call. I just want to give you a quick overview here about multi-factor authentication versus two-factor. Two-factor, almost we all use that every day. Example, you log in to your bank and you put your username password in, and then they send you a code to your phone, and you put this usually 6-digit code or longer depending upon who it is into your device, and you're in and you're credentialed and you're doing what you have to do and get out and move on with your life. Multi-factor is a lot more. It's usually a possession of something. So usually it's one of your devices, computer, iPad, watch, tablet. Could be even little secure pass chips. There's different things for security. So a lot of things are set up, but it's a physical device. Then the knowledge part of it is that's your passwords, that's your security answers, that's the PIN numbers, whatever you have. So that's the knowledge part of it. Then there's the being, that's us, something we have, we are. That's our fingerprint, our eyes for scanning. It could be your palm prints. Amazon's doing that these days for biometrics. So it's multi-factor, multi-things. Well, they're exploiting at this point, so the two-factor, which is pretty easy, right? We started off initially when we first got into computers, it was username and password to get into things. Then it became the two-factor for more security. Now it's multi-factor. We're actually running out of factors. So what's going to end up happening is because we can't, we're running out of things to use. But give you an idea, what's being exploited here is now the better of all the systems that we currently have, and they're finding a way around it. So I guess the bombardment stopped on his phone, his devices, and the phone rings and it says Apple support. If you look on your screen there, 1-800-275-2273 is Apple's actual support line. That is real. So obviously people can spoof things on phones to make it look like what they want to say, but he picked up because he's suspicious. Again, this guy's more cautious than most because of who he is and what he's doing. But the person on the end of the phone starts giving him a lot of accurate information from Apple. So he's like, okay, you have my attention, but he's still skeptical. But what you have to keep in mind is there's a company out there called People Data Labs. And what they do is they use something called OSNT, which is open source intelligence. And they go out and they gather data on everybody from every site, everywhere. So basically, if you have a bagel for breakfast, they're going to know about it. And that's what's crazy. And if you like, if you don't like Philadelphia cream cheese, they're going to know about it. So unfortunately, our data is out there. It's bought and sold daily, and more companies are gathering data on everything we do because more information is being given to them. And to the right people with the right tools or the right finances, they can, buy this information or get access to it. So he was starting to answer some of these questions and listen to the person on the end of the phone. Well, this is where he gets lucky. When Parth Patel said, hey, I'm still want to make sure, what's my name because to verify it. And basically they said his name was Anthony. He knew right off the bat that was false because Parth has been trying to erase some of his data, his footprint on the web. And he knows that there's 3 other profiles like his out there. One of them wasn't Anthony Parth. And for that, he knew that wasn't him. Or I'm sorry, Anthony Patel. So he knew that. So he already knew that it was a fake person he was talking to. But the whole goal was for them to trigger a reset code so that he would get a one-time code supplied to him where once he followed that prompt, believing